This week we feature a supernatural fiction author by the title of Scrambled. I'd like to welcome Frederick Williams to the show. How you doing, Fred?
I'm doing good, and thank you for having me on. I really appreciate
Yeah,
this opportunity.
no problem, man. And like I said, I think it's an honor to have someone such as yourself on. Now, Scrambled was your first book, correct? That you've written?
Yes, that's correct. I have actually, my story starts with 3 books, and let's take it all the way back. The story starts with me being a bodybuilder. I was a natural bodybuilder, and I was dedicated to that sport for 15 plus years. I won 13 out of 15 shows, and I took first place in 7 of those contests. So I was very proud. But it came to a point where I had to make a tough decision. And we know what that tough decision entails. Is performance enhancing drugs. We know that sport, it's an element of the sport. I don't want to, disrespect anybody that's a bodybuilder and they do it. That's their business. They live with the outcome with that. But as far as I was concerned, I couldn't make that decision. And I had to leave the sport because there was no more that I could do for that sport. And I had to realize it was time for me to make that change. So I always did writing on the back burner. And then, my girlfriend one day, we were sitting at a restaurant and she just shook it out of me. She said, "Fred, you're not a bodybuilder anymore. You are a writer and you have to say it." And I said it. And I said, "I am a writer." And once I chanted that, I made the chant. I believe in that. And once I said it out loud, I said, I got to back it up. So a year after that, I put this book out.
So, with that being said, I mean, who is Frederick Williams? I mean, what led you on the path aside from the bodybuilding? You said you've always enjoyed writing and stuff like that.
It was always a back burner thing I like to do. It started with I was always fascinated with aliens, UFOs, horror, you name it. And right now, my biggest thing is anything Christopher Nolan. So the supernatural always came about, but there were some movies that just inspired me. There were some books that just they clawed in and stayed. And what comes to mind right now is Devil's Advocate. That movie it was just so, because it was more disturbing than disgusting. And there's something about that, if it gets you get the wheels turning. The other book that comes to mind, this is a book, not a movie, but Needful Things by Stephen King. I think there was a movie adaptation, but Needful Things, he took all these people and manipulated them. And that's a whole nother type of horror right there. It wasn't necessarily disturbing, but the way he manipulated and the way he presented the story, it really inspired me to try my creativity out in that area.
Excellent. And then when did you release the book? When was the book published?
Scramble came out last year.
Okay.
Right around
great.
August 12th. Yeah, August 12th. We announced it June 12th, and then 2 months later, we put it out for the world to review.
Okay, and then was there any kind of inspiration behind the book? I mean, I realized that you wanted to be an author, and that's kind of like your thing now. But what was what inspired you to write this kind of a story?
It was so simple. I wrote one book. I wrote my first book, and then I thought to myself, I kind of felt like I was trying to write a book that other people wanted to read instead of staying true to myself and writing the book I want to read. So I said, "Fred, you know what? What kind of book would you want to write?" And I said, "Kill them all. We got to kill them all." And once that got in my head, man, it got going, man. It turned fun because nobody was exempt. The hero's journey where
Right.
one character triumphs, they overcome obstacles. Nobody's exempt in my stories. Everybody, isn't that like life? Nobody's exempt in life. And one of my biggest themes in this story is sometimes you'll do all the right things and it still won't turn out the way you want it. But overall, in the midst of that, there is an overarching goal that will come about. Everything is a act of love or a cry for love. And we have people, three different characters whose definition of love, based on the way they were taught, has been distorted. And they carry this out. We have a principal who's hell bent on his kids getting an education. Not only does he make sure they learn it, he goes back and follows up to make sure they did learn it. We got a single mom, Ava, who wants to make sure she raises the world's best child and her son, who happens to be a student of this principal. So she overcomes so many obstacles to make sure that this kid gets a world-class education. And then we have Lee, of course, the streetwise kid has been tainted when the killer of his parents through a drunk driving accident is released on good behavior. There ain't no such thing. And he's dead, bent on revenge. So Scramble is the perfect recipe for math, murder, and revenge.
That sounds like a fascinating read. And now you mentioned that you're currently working on something a little, is it similar on the lines of kind of I guess the genre, or is it what are you working on currently?
Well, I don't, and here's what and this is one of the things, I don't know if this is good advice or not. I don't write to a genre. I write the story as I see it, and then we just put it out there.
I think I mean, there's a lot of authors like, I mean, even like Stephen King, I think is kind of like that, right? Because I mean, he doesn't necessarily write all just like blood and guts horror type books. Yeah.
Definitely. Yep.
Okay, so cool.
And we have to write that story. And so the next story I'm working on, this is called Chrome number 22. And now we're looking at a nurse caregiver who this is a love letter to caregivers, a little twisted love letter, but she has been jaded and disrespected, and it's all her fault because she didn't know how to open up and say, I am not okay. And she just loses it. And it takes one of her patients, a strong-willed grandmother, to realize something is wrong. And this grandmother will go through all odds to make sure that she gets what she really wants, which is forgiveness. And that taps right into the supernatural. We introduce a character in this book who is one of my favorite characters I've had help in creating. Her name is Love. And Love is the entity of love. And how do you write about a person whose job is love? And she is hell-bent on unforgiveness, and she is a wild ride, man. And she comes in and she loves. She is definitely the definition of love unnurtured, and it takes nurtured love to help unnurtured love come back to her senses.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
Appreciate
so
that.
With that being said, like both books kind of, I guess there's some supernatural elements to them, right?
Oh, most definitely.
So there's something with the supernatural that kind of fascinates you or interests you.
Yes. I think there is more to it than what we're looking at. We always wonder, let's talk about heaven and let's talk about hell. I believe those were created because we don't know. We have a fear of the unknown. And, we get so bent on confirming our afterlife when we don't even know about this life. We have a fascination for death, but we don't even invest in our life. You got so many people who live their lives by the rules of good and bad. But why don't they let's work in love. Good and bad, when you get good and bad, you'll never go towards love. And you're so worried about being good and bad, you will miss out on a whole side of your life. But going to the supernatural, let's talk about death. I mean, what is this thing? What's over there? What's on the other side? My question now, my new religion now, my new belief, I don't know. We didn't know when we came in. We don't know. I don't know. And I'm not afraid to live and stand by. I don't know what happens when I die.
Right.
But so afraid. I mean, am I going to be reincarnated? Am I going to heaven? And I don't have a problem with people with belief. I don't want to get this into a discussion.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, I think you're right. We don't know. We don't know. Yeah. But I do want to say, though, that I mean, I think there's some evidence that suggests a lot of great researchers out of the University of Virginia are doing a lot of great work with near-death experience stuff. And there
Definitely.
is some research that it's kind of that points to at least survival of consciousness after
Mm,
the physical death. Now, like you said, you don't know. I don't think any of us really truly know,
we-
but I do think you make a good point, saying that we become fascinated with death. And I know at least in my case, I think I have. And you make a valid point though. Maybe I'm missing out on some of what I'm here now, right? I should be enjoying this experience and
I,
like being alive in life right now, and not so concentrated on what happens afterwards.
I mean, let's look at this, man. We have people, they're fascinated with death. They live, they miss out on an entire life in anticipation for something that nobody that has been dead has come back. Now, I know I'm about to step on some Jesus. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to even get into that, but let's talk about where we are right now. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about this moment. In these moments, that's when it all comes together for me. If I'm having a bad day, I can't hope for a better afterlife. I need to find happiness right now. I need to find it. And that's to me. I will have the worst day. I will get chewed out by my boss. I will get, you know, somebody doesn't like what I have to say about a certain subject. Me and the girlfriend might get into a fight. If you can go and walk outside and find one thing that made today worth it, you won. And I don't think people do that. I don't think it's there. I think people are so enamored. They're so fascinated. They're so distracted with status. They're so distracted with, and I call some people in religion. They have a fascination with going by the rules. It's not a real relationship with their own creator. It's not a real. It's a I'm gonna do all these rules and I'm gonna get my lottery ticket and go to heaven, instead of having a conscious experience, a rubber meets the road, where today is rough. This is where everything I learned should be kicking in. Do these beliefs that I have, are they serving me? Or are they helping me to become a better person? Or am I just doing it for the promise of the afterlife when we don't even know, quite frankly, what that afterlife is? I mean, so I'm not saying, like, I'm not telling nobody to trample on their religion. I'm asking everybody to question what it is they believe, and do those beliefs help them to become the best version of themselves that they can become? And if it doesn't do that, you got to start asking some questions. Like,
Yeah, that's well said.
yeah, I that's where I am.
That's
So,
well said.
uh,
For sure. And I think, I'm kind of with you on that. I mean, I don't want to disrespect anybody's religion or anything
oh,
like
never,
that.
yeah,
But if that's what works for you and that makes you a better person, I'm all for it.
never deny anybody's experience.
Yeah,
That real to them. I will never deny that. That's their walk.
yep.
I'm just asking them: is what you doing? Does it give you happiness? Is it helping you become the best version of yourself? And if that thing doesn't serve you, you got to question it.
And I talked about this on my show before, but you
Mm-hmm.
had mentioned that, like, maybe you get in an argument with a girlfriend or you get yelled at by your boss. And
Definitely.
sometimes it's not easy to get out of that mindset once you get, pissed off about a certain subject or a situation. But I
Definitely.
think I've been doing some reading on that, and it's actually important to kind of try to teach yourself. I mean, sometimes it's almost impossible depending on the situation, but for the most part, try to teach yourself to stay in the moment, right? So
Right.
if it happened 20, 30 minutes ago, you need to let it go, because like it already happened. You can't
Yep.
change it, and it being pissed off isn't going to help the rest of your day. Like, you just need to stay focused in the moment, which I think it's hard for us to do that at times. We're either thinking about things that are going to be in the future, or we're thinking about
Things in the
things that
past.
Yep. And we're not focused on the here and now. And we're really missing out on life, right? We're missing
I'm
out on
guilty.
what's going on.
I'm so guilty of it, man. And that's why, I love to get on these calls, because I want to tell people, first off, it is okay to not be okay. I want to say that first off. This book I got, I'm working on selling this thing. I am new to the writing experience. I am not a celebrity, but I want to be able to tell people, you don't need to have celebrity status to love yourself. You don't need celebrity. You don't need to have this body, this image, the money. I mean, it that's not how you fill the void. Your best way to get your confidence, your love, it has to be external. There has to be this external drive. But to go back to what you're saying, in that moment, if you could take 10 seconds and understand that the world is still beautiful outside of your situation that you're in, just go outside and find something that's beautiful and remind yourself, man, everything that's ever happened on this earth has happened on this earth. But if you zoom out into how big this universe is, that thing is meaningless, man. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen those videos on YouTube where they zoom out from Earth and they show you how big the universe is? Doesn't that make your problem seem like this big? I think Carl Sagan said it best. He said everything from the time of human history all the way up to now has happened on that speck. They took that picture from Saturn, and it was a blue dot, and that was us. Insignificant, man. We've only been here for a blip as far as long as the universe is concerned. So the universe, to me, does not care about money. The universe does not care about looks. It does not care about fame. It does not care about likes, followers. Do you care about yourself?
Yeah, and I mean to try to grasp it, I guess the size, and I don't think we can as humans grasp the size of the universe, but I think they say that for every star in the universe, there's more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth. So to think of the enormous, I mean, it's you can't understand the scope of it.
Have you seen the picture of I think it was the picture of the solar system inside of the M87 black hole? The solar system, sun to Pluto, it's like a dot inside of the M87 black hole. I mean, that's how it blows my mind when I do it. But when my mind gets blown like that, I remind myself, that little problem you got ain't no problem.
That's right.
Look how big this thing is. Who cares?
That's right. That's right.
We gonna come and we gonna go, and then somebody else is gonna come and they gonna go, man. You have to go internal for your experience before you leave this earth. Wherever we go, you got to go internal to know that you are worthy, man. You're where your 2 feet are. You belong here, man.
Right.
Don't let nobody else tell you that you don't belong where you belong.
That's right.
That's why I called you the next Nori, man. I see that. I listen to you, man, and I don't want you to ever doubt that, man. It's just a matter of time, and it's practice, and just keep doing it, and don't let nobody kill that, man, because I see it.
Thank you, bud. I appreciate that. And then, with that being said, do you believe that there is kind of a crossover effect with, say, horror novels or novels such as you've written with like the real world?
I think so, but it's not what you think. Let's talk about my character Love. My character Love, I don't want to give it away, but she represents unnurtured love. How many of us have seen people that say they love you, but they do X, Y, and Z to you? They have been taught how to love, and they have not experienced nurtured love. And once they experience nurtured love, you don't go back. All of us have that story, man. Whether it be a parent, whether it be a friend, whether it be your best friend, you get bullied, whatever. Everything is an act of love or a cry for love. So when you get somebody that's getting bullied, the people that's doing the bullying, that's a cry for love. Everybody has 3 fundamentals, man: love, safety, and belonging. So when you see these people doing this to you, or you're the recipient of it, they're acting in the best representation of love that they got. So the crossovers for horror, if it's not doing this, it needs to do this. You need to walk out in a better state than when you walk in, even with horror. Let's talk about most of these. Like, I'm just gonna throw an example out. Let's just go Jason. Jason is a perfect example of unnurtured love, man. Name any villain, man. They're probably an example of unnurtured love, man. Something happened and it didn't go right the way they planned it. That's why they are the way they are. So yeah, to me, I think horror does blend with reality. It's not going to be, special effects kind of,
Right.
stuff like that. But I think some of the overarching themes, especially now. I mean, have you seen what's going on now? Since we came out of the pandemic, I mean, people are losing their minds.
Well,
man.
that's what scares me. I think reality oftentimes is scarier than a horror movie.
It is.
It's
stranger than fiction, right? Is that what
yeah,
they say?
man. Yeah, man. And another one that gets me is the Matrix movies. I've thought on those a lot, and I often wonder, like, man, are we really in a matrix? Are we really? Yeah.
Are we simulation, man? I have wrestled with that idea, and I have come to a conclusion. If I am, I am, and if I'm not, I'm not. All right, let's think about this. What if we are? Okay.
Okay, still got to go to work in the morning.
Got to go pay the bills.
Yeah, still got to pay the bills.
I have wrestled with that. That is eye-opening. I have wrestled with that. I have all three movies, man. It just blew my mind. If you ever go to YouTube and just Neil deGrasse Tyson, all these scientists, Elon Musk, we're in a simulation, But is that telling me that I am okay where I am? Am I relinquishing my control? Am I becoming a victim? Well, I'm in the simulation, so where I am is where I am, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not here to promote anybody letting external outcomes determine who they are as a person. Just because I have not sold 1 million copies of my book does not make me an author. The reason I am an author is because I wrote the book. So to anybody that's listening, just because you're not at X, Y, and Z level does not denote the achievements that you can make. If you ride on the back of a trash truck, but in your mind, you dream and you plot and you plan to one day own the truck, you are on your way. That's success. Success has been diluted. It has been, can you help me think of a word for what the definition of success has become? It's the standards that we have put on us are so high and unattainable. We have destroyed the definition of success, and I'm here to reset
what I agree with you. I think the definition of success is destroyed, and you might be right. Maybe it is diluted, but I think it's off too.
Correct.
Right. I mean, my version of success, at least the way I envision success, is being a good husband, being a good father,
right,
being a good person, being a good human being, helping others, maybe spreading the word of people like such as yourself, trying to help, people out in the world, man, trying to make the world a better, more positive place to live. Where other people's success might be, a new Bentley in the driveway and a $5 million home.
Right.
But I mean, I think they're missing the big picture though.
I can guarantee you. Let's go with an example. I just read this and I want to share this with you. Let's say have you ever heard a rich person say that they got all this money and they're not happy? There is some truth to that. And let me tell, I can show anybody my receipts. I am on my way, but I have not arrived. So I am right there in the struggle with everybody. I just came home from work. But let me give you this example. Let's say you give a 16-year-old as a gift, you give them a Ferrari. I know we're off topic on supernatural. We're gonna get right back into it. But you give them a Ferrari, and when they get out of college, they turn 16. But when they get out of college, when they're like 21, 22, you give them a BMW. What's that kid gonna do? They're gonna be like, well, thanks, Dad, but I had a Ferrari.
Right.
I think people get the climb of the mountains confused with the peak. Find something where you love to climb that mountain. Find when you're in doing what you're doing, when you're got your headphones on and you're interacting with your guests, don't worry about the outcome of that. Just enjoy the doing of what that is. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about I'm not worried about how many. I'm happy I wrote this book, man. That was the happiest part of me. I got it done. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the process, the journey, not the destination, not the peak. And I think most rich people don't have a peak. They climbed it. They don't have a climb. They don't climb. So they got this void. Like, what do I do? Whereas someone that's, you driving you on the back of a trash truck and you loving life, you get that truck and you get another truck. And you get 3 trucks. Then you get a manager for those 3 truck drivers. You got to drive the 3 trucks. You climb up slowly. So when they get to it, they have an appreciation. Unlike the kid that got the Ferrari when he was 15.
Valid. Very valid.
You got to cut me off, man. I'll get to going.
No, you're good, bud. You're good. I'm enjoying this. This is a very good conversation. Now, you had mentioned, yeah, no problem. You had mentioned that you had a couple experiences, paranormal experiences, possibly with ghosts, or maybe not as how I view a ghost. I don't know what you were talking about, but let's hear what you got to say.
Let's do that one. I believe we see ghosts, and man, please, I know you and the audience, y'all just go with me on this. But have y'all ever had something you didn't deal with? And I'm just asking a rhetorical question to the audience. If you had that thing that you didn't deal with and it keeps popping up and it's bothering you, that's a ghost to me. That's it haunts you. You got to do something about this. Something's going on internally, and you got to go see a doctor. And man, you sit up all night like, what is wrong with me? That to me is a ghost. But in my case, I specifically, and this is one of my best ones. I had a dream, man, and my ghosts come up in my dreams, and that's to me is the medium. I watch the ghost, reality shows and stuff like that where stuff moves and stuff like that. But I believe they show up in her. I think that's where they can travel. That's where we communicate.
I definitely think there's something to dreams and possibly another dimension or something where you're communicating with other spirits.
Because when you win it, it's so real, and I respect that. So when I had this dream, I had a friend of mine, she a really close friend of mine, one of my drinking buddies. I met her at a bar. Now her boyfriend was the manager, so we were all cool, man. But for some strange reason, man, we would just go out. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, y'all go have a good time." He could trust me. I'm a good dude. I ain't like that. And I was single. I respect this girl. But we got real cool, man. We would go out. While they were working, then we would go back, and we all 3 of us would go out, or whoever was in the group. When I was teaching fitness classes, she would show up for my classes. We had a really good relationship. And as all relationships, man, they ebb and flow. And we got into one of those periods where we weren't talking for a while. I wasn't going out, and I was busy, and she had her life. But during that life, they were trying to give birth, and my friend, through in vitro fertilization, finally got pregnant, and the call I got was she died giving birth. Now imagine that, man, that you want to do something so bad and then you die to get it done. I got a couple of theories on that, but let's
tough. That's tough.
It was bittersweet. It was beautiful in a weird way. I wasn't sad at her funeral. Talk about passion. Talk about the climb. How many times did they go through in vitro fertilization to get to that point? And she gave her life for what she wanted. Now, there was a couple of people, there's always a skeptic when you tell this story. Maybe she shouldn't have been having kids. Well, maybe she should have.
Did the baby live?
it had if she was never able to be a mom.
Did the baby live?
The baby lived. Baby's about 10 years old. See him send pictures all the time. I'm going to write him a note. One of the requests at the funeral was to write this kid a note. So he doesn't know his mom, but I know his mom, and I can tell stories about his mom. So that leads me to the main point.
That's beautiful, man. That's a beautiful thing you can share with him.
Oh yeah, he has to know, man. The stories, man, it's gonna be fun. You know, I look forward to writing that letter to him, and I'm waiting because I want him to read it. I want him to get the hey, we hung out with your mom and we did this and this, and she threw up on my birthday, blah blah blah. You know, but let's get to the story of this. Random. I say it was 2018. I'm 2019. I'm new town, new location. I moved from my hometown, and I just had this dream, and I see this woman. I knew who it was. She had her arms wrapped around her boyfriend, and she was just hugging him. The reason I think it was a ghost is because I became aware that she died while I was having this dream. What is this thing sitting there with her arms behind her man? So what I perceived it was, this was a image of her manifested, got her arms around her man. I don't think her man can see the ghost. I think I can see her with her arms around her man. And that's to let me know that she was okay. That's to let me know, hey, you ain't gotta cry. I am good.
She came to you in your dream.
Appeared.
Yeah. And I think that's even a potential proof. I mean, some people can say, oh, it's just your imagination, but that's a potential proof of life after death, right?
To me, definitely. We don't know what that is, man. That's why I don't worry about it. We don't know what it is, man. But she had her arms wrapped. I will swear it up and down, because I became aware. I thought she was dead. And I was like, maybe she is. You know, maybe she is, you know. I've had an ex-girlfriend's mom who loved me like a son. She appeared, had on a bright yellow dress, had this smile on her face. We were same kind of situation, and she just, how you doing, Freddie? I'm fine. And I believe that these people show up in my life because I genuinely cared about them. For whatever circumstance, I couldn't say goodbye to them in their final hours, and they're coming back to tell me that I'm okay. And that's why I believe in the supernatural. I believe in ghosts, man. I believe, but they don't show up the way you think. They don't show up with a white sheet with 2 dots in the eyes. You know, this ain't no Scooby-Dooby stuff, you know.
Well, if you ever talk to ever have a reading from a real psychic medium, they'll have you believe in that too. I mean, they can draw on some things it'll make the hair on your arm stand up, you know, and give you goosebumps.
I believe that.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. That's a fascinating story. Any other kind of supernatural experiences like that you've had personally?
My granddad, he died. Man, that was a while back, but I had a dream he was cutting my hair, and I think it's the same thing, man. Because in all 3 of those situations, I wasn't there for the very end. I never got like a final goodbye. You know, I never got that closure you can get with loved ones. And you know, my granddad used to grip my head while he used to be a barber, and you know, you would grip my head. But I had the same dream. But I'm this age, and he died when I was like in my 20s. So I'm like, all right, he's okay. You know what I mean?
Yep, I believe that. That's a wonderful thing, man. And that's nice that they could share that with you through dreams. If I think oftentimes, you know, loved ones or people we know that have passed on will give us signs, but a lot of times we're not paying attention.
I believe so too. I mean, how easy would it have been for me to chuck it off as, oh man, I'm just seeing things? But
yeah,
you stop and think about it, man. Like, wait a minute now. Why would she come to mind? You know, we did the rites, we did the burial, we know life went on. All of a sudden, this dream pops up. You know, and you start thinking, all right, is this a subconscious story of something going on at work, or am I dealing with something? No, it was my friend.
Right.
She had her arms wrapped around her boyfriend. And I'm like, well, that's her. She's okay. She looked happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, we have issues with as humans. Like we try to use logic to always to justify everything. And I mean, I think we need to credit maybe the universe is just a little more synchronistic than that. And
I,
there's usually meaning to almost everything.
I think the universe is a little bit smarter than we are, man.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your thoughts on aliens?
Oh man. Ooh, man.
Uh-oh. This is gonna be good.
All right. I got some video. All right. Now, it was my girlfriend, she will attest. We were at a donut shop, 9:30 in California, man. And we look up and it did not make no sense. That's the only way I could describe it. Now you've seen that before, right? Now you always get mad because people got grainy video. Why don't you take a good video?
Yeah. You get this new iPhone and you can't get, you got,
Well,
looks like it's from 96.
I got an iPhone 6, so I'm there. Sorry, guys.
I love it.
This thing is in the air, man. And it's up there because I started filming. I said, okay. And I got this speck that's not doing what other things. It ain't a balloon. So I can see that much. And I can tell a balloon. I ain't stupid. And there's just specks sitting in the air. So comparison, just so happens a Southwest airplane is flying across the sky right next to it. And you can see the size of it compared to the Southwest plane. I got the film. Y'all can think I'm crazy. Anybody want to email me? I will send you the film. You can judge it for yourself. It's hard to look. It's a speck, but that thing, it didn't look right. I got a couple of those. One of them I think was like a drone or something, but this one was too high because that plane flew right next to it. But to answer your questions about aliens, it don't make no sense to have this much space in the universe. If y'all ever do that zoom out video, nah, man, that don't make it. There's too much space out there.
We're not that special.
Yeah, there's too many chances, like our chance to come on this planet.
Yeah,
that it can happen to another planet with the same type of conditions that apply. You know, perfect distance from the sun. Right. Yeah, did you know that the sun, as far as circumference, is the same diameter as the moon? As far as how we see it in the sky.
Yeah, it's odd. Yeah, and that's because the moon's the moon has to be like, because that's how you get the eclipse, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But it's strange because it's almost as if the moon was placed there, right, purposely in that exact, orbit.
Yeah.
It's very strange. But there's a lot of strange things about the moon. I don't know if you've.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen them pictures, man. Yeah, there's something going on up there.
Man.
Because we ain't been back there for a minute, so I'm curious as to what happened up there.
Well, supposedly some of the astronauts. Well, some people say we didn't even go to the moon. But I don't know. But supposedly some of the astronauts say that it's and NASA says that it's hollow. That it has like a bell sound, like when they drop. Like the word I'm looking for, like rovers or whatever, when they drop them on the moon, it sends out like a ringing sound, and it rings for hours, like it's hollow, like it's a hollow. So it's interesting, again, I don't know how true it is, but it's
like I said, I think with the Pentagon report coming out, but here's what I want you to think about. We're sending probes to other planets. We're sending rovers. We got Curiosity. We got the New Horizons. We're landing these satellites on comets. Can't they do the same thing with us? I mean, the distance is the same for everybody. And wouldn't you think aliens would have a challenge too, trying to travel that far? Now, I don't know about their technology, but wouldn't they send a satellite or a rover? I mean, I believe that they're just looking at us like we're looking at them.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think they would travel like us, though, to be honest with you. I think if they're that advanced to make it to Earth, they're probably been in space time or doing something
Oh,
weird, traveling interdimensionally, something, man.
yeah. I think when I said that, my point in saying that was they're studying, just like we study.
Oh yeah.
They're curious. They want to know, like, what the heck? I mean,
Oh yeah.
we're giving off so many signals. I mean, what's the signal from Hitler's speech? I mean, how far away is that now? I mean, it's out there. That's where contact. That signal was Hitler's speech. That was like the first broadcast that went on out. So I think whatever kind of detection system they got. I mean, we can look at the spectrograph of light that's coming off of a planet and determine what gases are in the atmosphere based on they call this, I think it's a spectrograph. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if anybody listening, if I'm wrong, forgive me. But they can look at the light that shines off and tell you what's on it. Don't you think they might have technology to do the same? I mean,
yeah,
so
I'm sure.
I think we ain't the only smart people on the planet. Planet.
In the universe, right?
But here's another thing too. They always say, like, what if this is us traveling back in time? What if we are the aliens?
I've thought of that too. Like, what if we're the time travelers checking in on our prehistoric selves or something?
That's it. Yeah, history. Like a field trip for kids.
I mean, if that's the case, I guess I'm happy for mankind, because I don't know if I'm that confident we're going to survive that long.
I think it's going to take vulnerability, man. I think a lot of men, in particular, I say men because that's who I go after. We need to sit down, man, and sit still. I think I have nothing but hope for the human race, man. We're ingenuitive, man. We can come up with solutions, man. And that the attempt right there is what makes mankind fascinating. We just don't bow down, to anything, man. If there is an injustice, man, we're there. If there is a problem, we try to solve it, man. We're curious. As long as we don't lose that curiosity, I think we'll be fine, man. But men, I say this to men, and women aren't excluded ever. And some women need to do it too. They need to sit still, man. They need to filter out all this stuff. Filter out all these influences, man. They gotta, the TV, man. We gotta get away from this TV for a minute. We gotta get away from the music. What kind of music are you putting in your ear? And what is it saying to you? Friends, I go there, man. Friends, we need masterminds, man. You need to surround yourself with people that's going to make you George Norrie, man. And if your friend is jealous and a dream killer, we got to get rid of that person. But I think, you ever notice the Buddha? And I'm going all the way off subject. I know we're going back to, I'll go back to the aliens and stuff.
No, you're good.
The Buddha sits, man. And I'm not trying to push one over the other. The Buddha sits, and he sits with his eyes closed, man. And that's the action we need to do. We just need to sit in our stuff, man. So when you got that feeling of insecurity, I did it. You got to sit in that thing, man, and give your brain the space to accept that. Because what we do, we try to push it off. No, that ain't true. We try to shut the brain off. And what you resist persists, man. But if you give that thing, man, that doubt, because I called you George Norrie off the top, and I hope you feel the same way. But if you got a gap between that, you got to sit in there like, how come I don't feel like I'm worthy? I know I'm gonna do good with this book. I don't have a gap because I believe in my message at this point, and I know something good is going to come from it. I can't have a gap anymore. I can't have someone tell me that I'm not good enough. Or I can't wait on an agent to validate my talent as a writer. I am a good writer. I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow, and I'm going to write. You are a damn good radio host, man. And I see this going nationwide, and it's already nationwide, but I see it just getting big and people catching on to this, man, because it's fascinating topics to talk about, especially now that UFOs are finally getting the respect they deserve as far as the paranormal.
I appreciate
it's going to open the worms. But we got to, men and women, because the definition of a woman has to be redefined. And we need to set these rules on what the definition of beauty is, what the definition of success is. We set the rules for ourselves.
That's right.
We don't,
That's right.
So I think mankind is going to be great. I think we're going to get past these issues eventually. I speak nothing but hope, and I know we're going to get through it because we're smart, and we just gotta learn how to say, I have a mind that wants to grow. I'm open, and I am okay with admitting that I am not. I am not the best at something. We just gotta admit it. We just gotta just put it out there. I'm not good at this. I'm
I,
not the best
I
at this.
think we need to find a way, and I agree with that. I think that's the best thing we can all do individually. But I think as people though, man, we
Mhm.
gotta we gotta figure this thing out, man. We gotta learn to start loving each other a little better, you know.
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of terrifying some of the stuff going on between the different nations and and the
Mhm.
type of technology that we have. I mean, we could destroy each other pretty easily.
And yeah, I agree with that, man. And you know what's so funny about that? We got the technology to destroy each other, and we got the resources and we got the resources. We could feed Africa. We could literally feed Africa.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
We could feed it.
We could
No,
easily
man.
solve world hunger.
Dude, we could feed Africa. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole continent.
Yeah.
There's one person, one billionaire could feed Africa, man. And I don't know what it is. Do billionaires need a trophy to say that I made it? I'm not telling tell anybody how to spend their money, but I just can't understand what you're gonna do with it. I mean, what do you want from this now? You very proud, and again, I'm not trying to tell nobody how to spend their money. You earned it, you spend it how you. But my question to that person is, you are sitting on more money than you could spend in your lifetime, and change is needed, and you got the agent of change. Why? Like I said, do you need a proclamation that I have achieved? Like, what's those things you get, like the little trophies when you run a certain amount of miles on your Fitbit? Do you need this little proclamation that I have done this thing? Put the money back to work, man. I don't. That's where I'm at with this, man. But to answer your question about humankind, it got to start with yourself. The first person that can
Yes, it does.
change and guarantee results, you can change yourself, man.
Yourself, right? You can't control
Ooh,
what
man.
others do. Yeah,
Guarantee.
that's yeah,
Yeah.
that's truth. That's truth.
What's up, man?
If we could get everybody on the same page, it'd be a beautiful place.
And respect the differences.
Yeah,
Uh, it's getting to this point, man.
encourage differences, right?
Getting
I mean, that's a
encouraged.
beautiful thing. Everybody being different. That's what
Take
makes it unique and interesting.
right.
If we were
And
all the same, it would suck.
yep, yep. And I know I'm saying that in the middle of what's going on. I said those words. I said embrace differences. White people embrace the differences. Black people embrace the differences. We have to be willing to come to the table, and that speaks to everybody. And I know the news is portraying it. The news is tactfully using words to do this, man. And it's a sensitive thing to talk about, but we have to be open to this, man. There has to be a vulnerability. There has to be a willingness. It's just becoming so divisive, man. Now they're doing it with vaccinated versus unvaccinated.
Yeah.
No matter how many times we try to unify, man, something comes along that tries to divide, man. And it has to, people, we got to, I'm not going to even use the term wake up.
Well, it's yeah, that's overused.
Yeah, a conscious awareness, man.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I don't know if it's a divide and conquer thing or what it is, but it's, I mean, whether it's Democrat, Republican, vaccinated, unvaccinated,
Yeah,
black, white, it's always something. Gay,
yeah.
straight. I mean, unify, man, unify.
I'm with that. And respect differences. Again, I said racism ain't tolerated, man. We know
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's what I'm saying, man. Let's operate on. I'm surrounding myself with people that operate on a plane where we can talk about the exchange of knowledge to try to solve some of these problems, man. I'm tired of getting into those discussions, man. I mean, I see so many people, they waste energy on Facebook with people whose mind are already made up. I mean, they write a book right there. There's a whole book arguing with somebody about this thing. Put that energy into a book, man, and then spread that message, man. Because you're not going to, do you change their mind? I mean, I think if you're fighting on Facebook, your mind's made up.
Yeah, that's well said. It is definitely energy wasted, right?
Say it again.
Yeah. I said that's well said. Definitely energy wasted, right? On some of that stuff.
And you're not going to win that fight.
Right.
They are grounded in their beliefs. That's what I'm trying to tell people. You know, the only way you can get through that is to have that person question their beliefs. Mm-hmm. But you got to question yours. Is fighting with this guy worth it? Or am I going to go put my message out to the public and then
reach some people? Right.
Wait for life itself to affect people. Then they was like, oh, let me go check out what this guy's about.
Yeah, man.
The dance, man. We got to dance with the universe on this, man. We you know, because you fighting with this dude, man, all you're doing is wasting time. When you can put that whole message you typed to that one guy, put it in a book, and let that person get drawn to that book, and let the universe work in that direction too.
That's beautiful.
Let me ask you your thoughts, man. What do you think about aliens, man? And Area 50? I'm an Area 51 junkie, man. When they about to storm Area 51, listen, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was interested. I was like, oh, I want to see where this goes, man. This is interesting. What do I think about aliens? Yeah. Well, I definitely believe they're real.
Definitely.
I'm not sure. I don't know, man. I'm not sure if they're completely physical like you and me. I mean, a lot of people say they are, mm-hmm. or if they're more like some kind of, I don't want to use the word like a cryptid creature, but some kind of maybe interdimensional, spiritual and physical being at the same time.
Gotcha.
I mean, some people, I'm sure you've probably heard the stories of like reptilians and like actual people. Some people say that they live amongst us, and mm-hmm. I guess it's possible.
Be skeptical of everything. I wouldn't be surprised, man.
Yeah, I keep an open mind about it. I don't want to say one way or another. I do probably think they are in our oceans, though, just based on all the different sightings that have been seen of UFOs coming in and out of our waters. And what a perfect place to study people. If you're on a planet and you want to study, they obviously know that we don't go or have the technology to go where they are.
Yep.
So I think that's a potential. What they're here for, I don't know. Hopefully it's good. I don't think it's completely malicious, or we would probably be already gone.
Right.
You know, but I don't know if it's 100%, you know, just they want to raise the spirituality and love of the human being. You know, I don't know if I buy into all that either.
You know, that's interesting you say that, because the first thing that came to mind when you said that was I started thinking of those paintings. Now, these are were they Renaissance paintings? There were certain paintings where they had these objects in the sky, and they looked like UFOs. And like, why was that thing even put there? You know. Yeah. So then you start thinking about, okay, what are really angels now? You know,
right.
Are they the messengers? You know, angel is a messenger,
right?
But messenger from. You know, let's talk about the book of Ezekiel, man. Some of them images, man,
crazy.
Describe UFOs.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And maybe they are advanced. I mean, not only technologically, but maybe they are advanced spiritually, kind of like where humans are trying to get to. And so maybe that is why they don't want to harm us. Maybe they are here to help us. But I mean, I feel like if they're here to help, come on with it. Step in. Come on. We need help, you know.
Yeah. And maybe it's one of those things where you know, you can only hold your kids' hands for so long, but at the minute you got to say, hey, when you fall off that bike, get your ass back up and get on that bike, you know. And maybe that's where we are as a race, you know.
Right. But then they also talk about you know, some of the more serious or sinister even abductions, and it makes you wonder, like, what are they doing? I mean, they're here studying us.
Right.
But the thing about that too is it throws me off a little bit too, is because it's like, well, if they're studying us, why have they been studying us for so long? I mean, I
Right.
guess unless it's just you know,
But let me ask you a question to piggyback on that. Should we be broadcasting and trying to reach them? I mean, do you believe in SETI?
yeah,
I
we
don't know, man. I think we're gambling with a lot of crap, a lot. If we're telling people, hey, here we are.
that's 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 valid, man.
I
That's
mean, they can't even determine these UAPs out here. They can't even begin to fathom the technology the way these spaceships move. Should we be telling them where we are? I mean,
I think maybe we should just mind our own business, and
yeah,
I mean, if they show up, they show up. But yeah,
definitely.
it's a good point, because you may be broadcasting to something you don't want.
Right. You might be a race of beings that's at the end that have exhausted the resources on their planet. Sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And they are looking for a new home so they can utilize the resources.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm both ways with it. We just don't know who we're tampering with, and I love the science of space exploration. I have a curiosity with space. I love it. But when we start getting into broadcasting, when we got problems here that we can fix, we got an ocean we ain't even been in barely.
Right.
Let's tend to home, and which leads to me to another question for you. And look, I don't know, I'm flipping
No,
this.
you're good. You're good.
Let me ask you about Mars, man. What I got two theories on Mars. One, we should go, and one we shouldn't go. Because here's what's going to happen: China is going to Mars. The United States is going to Mars. What kind of government is going to be on Mars? Is it going to be China? Is it going to be US? Are they going to fight?
That's
I,
the thing. It should be the human government that's on Mars. Not, we should be in it together to try to figure things out and to study our universe. And
but are we going, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mars is
Continue.
an interesting place, man. They think that life may have even began on Mars and came from Mars to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It used to have an atmosphere, and um, it's a
They call
fascinating
that
place. And
panspermia, right? It's
yeah,
panspermia.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think they could probably find at least evidence of life if they study, in the right places long enough. I mean, I don't know if they'll find life on Mars, but maybe evidence of life.
Yep. Yep. I got concerns about Mars because I don't want us to go to Mars like we are, and then Mars turns into an Earth. History repeats when we don't learn. Is that the saying? History's bound to repeat if we don't learn.
Right.
Or we just gonna take everything we're doing over here and do it on another planet? Because if we do, there's no point in going. But like you said, what if we find out we just came from there? So Mars is the after effects of whatever happened.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I don't think if you did try to settle in onto a new place, it can't be like this one.
Yep. Yep.
But who's to say? I mean, you know, I don't know.
Maybe there'll be a mutiny like they did when they came to the United States. We ain't, we're gonna do it this way up here. So come try to stop us.
Yeah. 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 It's just, I don't know, man. It's like, it just seems to me that the people at the top just have different agendas than
Yeah.
what, us regular folk do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Agree.
and it's usually not in our best interest.
Yep. Something happens at the top of anything, and the visibility becomes cloudy at the bottom. This whole Ellen story is a prime example. They lose visibility, and that's the best way I can put it. And I think it's because I don't fault the top. I fault the people in the middle that fail to communicate with the top, because there is a whole yes man. I don't die by disagreeing with him, whereas you're not telling the upper level what's going on. and the whole story. I mean, I've seen this happen on my job where there is an issue on the ground. I'm on the ground level, and there's an issue that needs to go to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Time it gets to the top, it ain't even the same message that's happening at the ground. So there's a gigantic disconnect going on between there. I think that's there's a fear. You're operating in fear. I need to keep my job. I need to do this. We need to. I can't tell him that's going on because, man, he'll have my hide. You tell him.
Right.
If he's that, you in the wrong job and there is something better for you. I think we got to start trusting things are going to be okay, and not live in this fear. Tell that boss, man. He probably, respect. I've read so many stories where people have they reach that wit's end, right? I've had enough of this place, and they go in and tell the boss exactly what they think. And somewhere in that conversation, a opportunity springs up, and that boss wants that person that's ready to quit to take on that responsibility just because he spoke what's really going on. So I don't think bosses want yes men, but that's kind of where I think with the government, and there is definitely it's not there's, like I said, it's foggy at the top.
Solid. Interesting stuff, man. What are your thoughts on cryptids? You know much about cryptids?
You got to hit me to that one. I never heard that term.
So like Bigfoot, Mothman, they have these little creatures called the Hopkinsville goblins from Kentucky.
Okay.
The Jersey Devil, stuff like that. Cryptids.
Jersey Devil. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. My thoughts on, I'll stick with Bigfoot is the one I do the most research on. I always stay current on that one. There is a lot of forest that has not been discovered, that has not been tracked upon. If you come to California, you'll see it. There is a lot of land, man. And I don't know, there's people that go exploring, but I don't know if we've covered every inch of this territory. I don't know if it's been, you can do an aerial all you want, but it's going to be covered up.
Right.
But I don't know if we've looked at every single square foot of the United States. And there is a lot of forestry.
Right, there is. In California, northern Maine, the Pacific Northwest,
Canada, let's go all the way in Canada.
Yeah,
I mean, there's forestry in there.
Alaska.
So, I've seen enough of those videos where you see something and it's not, and I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical of everything. I'm skeptical that there might be something that is just hiding. But here's the only issue I got with that. We've never found bones.
I know.
We never found a carcass. Stuff like that. So that keeps my skeptical. What do you think?
That's my same theory on that too, is like, I mean, we never find any real physical evidence. Supposedly they found some hairs and sent them to labs and couldn't really figure out what it was. And, there's always that, we found footprints and cast footprints type thing. But like you said, there's never no skeleton or real proof. But I mean, there's these weird videos out there, right? Though, that you see these things in the woods, in the forest. And there's so many people that see them, like, and it's gone way back to even like before the Native Americans, even during like the Native Americans, like they've seen this creature, they've experienced this creature. So it makes me wonder, like, is it a physical creature, or is it partially physical and partially spiritual? I don't know, because they although I guess it is their territory, so like it's an animal, it could like disappear quickly in the forest, but like it seems like they disappear quick and they're just gone. Like there's no trace of them, But crazy. I mean, there's people, they've communicate with them in the woods, they make noises, and there's something making a noise back. How they howl or they knock on the trees.
Heard those stories. Yeah. Yep.
And then there's no one else out there. They're out there and they're surrounded by nothing but forest, like you said.
Eerie. Yeah.
And then there's something out there communicating. It's not another human out there communicating with them.
Oh man.
So I don't know. There's something to it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, some and I know the one footage was kind of proven to be a fraud, but I've seen some other ones, man. It just
What are you talking about? The Patterson film was a
yeah,
fraud?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. But I've seen other ones, and it, like you said, it's not behaving like a normal animal. You know,
No.
it's upright first off, and it
Right. And then there's people that they talk about how it has, sometimes they have like a smell
yeah,
when they get near them, and
yep.
they've seen multiple ones together. So I mean, I guess it's possible.
Yeah. I think as far as what's the other one? It's God, it's the dog, the Chichu
Chupacabra.
yeah, Chupacabra. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like I said, we've discovered a lot of species on this planet, but there still remains species that we haven't even discovered. I mean, let's just go back to the ocean. I mean,
Absolutely.
we know what's at the bottom of that ocean.
We have no idea.
Do we know that? Let's go into sirens and mermaids, man. Do we actually know what we got on Miles Bullet?
We have no idea. No idea.
So you want to get into like that kind of evolved species underwater?
Like they said, we know more about our universe or the space than we do our own ocean.
Exactly.
So that's something, man.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating stuff.
Something is a good way of putting it, man. We just can't pinpoint alien, angel, word, but there is something, man. You know what I mean?
And it's like, I don't know, there's something about it that, like, I want all the answers in some ways, but in other ways, there's just it's something fun about not knowing and it being a mystery at the same time,
It's a self perpetual kind of deal. Just you keep wondering, and your imagination keeps running.
Yep.
Area 51 is just I think, man, I just think something's back there. I mean, is because let's just say something. Bob Lazar.
I was going to ask you about Bob Lazar.
Oh, he was too thorough, man. He was too thorough. And then I don't know if you remember, he was talking about how the spaceship works and how it steers. And then you see the video, the Tic Tac video, and the thing steers, the way it bends gravity. He was describing that stuff, man, and how they had the element. What element was that? 119? Is it element 119? Correct me.
No,
it's an element that they just recently discovered this thing. But he said there's a giant quantity of it, and I think it's element 119. I think that's it. I hope I'm right. That's the first one that came to mind. Millennium, but he talked about the vehicle was powered by that thing, and it was able to bend gravity, and it pulled the craft towards its being propulsed.
It's 119. You're right.
Oh man, all right. All right. Good guess.
Just looked it up. You're right.
Yeah, they got something, and they're not sharing it with the world because it's going to break the economy.
You think
remember
so?
Remember the EV1, the GM EV1, the electric car that came out way before the Tesla. This was 1998.
Yeah.
The oil people didn't want to break their economy, man. So they bought it in this. They paid off. I think they paid off GM. The oil people paid it off. So if this technology was to even come out, maybe it uses water. Man, can you imagine the economic fallout of filling your car up from the kitchen sink?
Yeah, they wouldn't. That wouldn't go over well. That would not go over well. But the shame of it is, it would be so much cleaner for the environment.
Oh man, yeah. Isn't that something? We have the potential.
We could do it. We could easily do it
to reduce this carbon footprint to zero. And greed, man.
Greed.
And there has to be a shift to where. That's why I go back to all these rich people with this money. There has to be a shift to where greed can't be the prize anymore. It can't be, man. It's destroying us, man. Greed if you look at greed and what it does, it, it destroys you. And at the same time, it doesn't even fulfill what it promises to do. Because we have invented these promises, man. Have you ever seen a car? If you ever look at a car, you're not seeing the car. You're seeing yourself in that car. But why do we need that car? If you need that car to see yourself in that car, and you can't see yourself in another car in the same light, the car ain't gonna fix that problem. But do you see how greed does that? That's why you get these celebrities, man. They try to tell you, yeah, I still got a void. I know why you got a void, because you thought this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
And they see it as a symbol of success, too.
It's all about love, safety, and belonging, man. If you get those three things, you don't.
That's right. You're right. You're absolutely
and they think this car is going to bring love. They think with this car, I'm gonna pull up and people gonna notice me. They get $102 billion. I got safety. But you don't need $102 billion to have safety. You can feel safe with what you got. And belonging. We all want belonging, man. You know how we're interacting. We want that fellowship. We want
right.
Those are the three fundamentals, man. And you won't get it from a car. You won't get it from status. You won't get it from getting an Oscar. You won't get it through there, man. You get it. It's internal. You turn around and you tell yourself.
So what you're saying is the monetary system of how humanity currently, basically how the world works right now, is probably not the best for humans, right? For mankind.
I'll say this about everything, and I say this about beliefs. It has gotten us to this point, but in order for us to move forward, we got to challenge the belief about consumerism.
Yeah.
Because all we're doing is we're buying stuff, man, and we're not growing. We're just buying stuff. And how much stuff do you need until you say, okay, you'll never have enough stuff?
But it almost, that's what bothers me about the system and about what we're talking about, though. When you really look at it from like a critical point of view, it almost seems as though it was designed that way. The system. It's kind of like, my little worker bees are going to go to work for me. They're going to, do their job. I'm going to pay them a little wage, and then they're going to, go to, buy stuff. And, I don't know.
They pay you just enough.
Yeah.
They don't pay you your worth.
That's
they
right.
Pay you just enough to keep you coming back.
That's right.
And people will get trapped into that, man, and they will lose sight of what they're supposed to do. Now, I'm not knocking anybody with a job. I mean, we got to make a living. We got to provide for a family. Yeah, but I'm talking to the people that got something that they want to do, that thing, man, and in that thing, they think, if I get this, if I do that, then it doesn't work. It just has to be, I am like this right now until those things come.
But you know what else this does? This system does. It individualizes us and it separates us, just like we were talking about earlier. Because if you think to back in the day when it wasn't under necessarily a monetary system, like we were a community, a tight-knit community, and people would go out and hunt with each other. And then, people would, prepare food with each other. You would sit together as a group of people and eat. And you would take care of one another, right? And you looked after one another, and you relied on each person to do their job, and you needed that person. We don't have that anymore.
No, it's me. It's all about me. It's what can I get out of here at anybody's expense? You ever seen that, man? People driving traffic. I got to get somewhere.
Yes,
risking the lives of everybody else. Because they failed to plan. Everybody else has to suffer, and it shouldn't. People got to stop that, man. They got to, like, where are you going? That's so important.
Right. You're gonna get there 3 minutes early, and you're jeopardizing everybody's lives in the process.
But yeah, you're right. The community, the term, it takes a village, man. That's one of my book. It takes a village. That whole mindset is gone. It is. I'm gonna get, and everybody else got to fend for themselves.
I think our ancestors had it right, man. I do. And honestly, I think they were likely more spiritual than us too. And they were maybe had a better connection with, you want to call it God or higher consciousness or whatever. I think they understood things deeper, maybe perhaps because of that sense of community and having time to think on things like that and to sit with their self, like you talked about earlier, because we're just so busy now. We always got, messages on this, ding, ding, checking out the social media, email, this, that.
You're right, man. We are so preoccupied. Technology is a beautiful thing, but we as a species, we don't advance. We don't keep up with technology. And technology, Elon Musk said it one day, he asked the guy asked him about cyborgs. He said, we're cyborgs now. Mm-hmm. We keep this phone on us. It may as well just stick on to us. They may as well just surgically attach it to us. And it's like you said, I think the previous generations, they didn't have access to technology that distracted us so much. So they relied on interaction. They relied on community. They relied on, after a hard day's work, we all go out to the bar and talk. Mm-hmm. And we get home to our families, the farm, man. The guy go out, eat his breakfast, man, go out and come home and he sit with his wife, man, on the porch. Get up at 5 a.m. the next day, man. We're slowly losing that to like buttons and Facebook. And I got to go argue with somebody that don't think like I think, instead of pulling out the good out of the conversation and totally shutting these people down. And we got to sit in it, man. We got to go back to sitting still, man.
Truth. Yeah. Well, Frederick, it's been a fascinating discussion. I
hope I can come back. I know.
Oh man, absolutely. You're welcome anytime, man. Because that was a brilliant conversation, bud.
We got to do this again. I
yes,
love
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. Hey, where can people find your book? Where can they find you?
Oh man, www.fredcreates. I'm a creator. It's fredcreates.com. So my new book is Scramble. It's available at Amazon. It's on sale right now. Please support it. I think you'll find out it to be a fascinating story, full of twists and turns.
When's the new one set to release? Or you don't have an idea for the publish date?
My goal is before Christmas. I am setting a goal for myself to get it done before Christmas, and we are in the editing stages now. Book's finished.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Can't wait to dig in and read. I'll get you back on. You're coming back on, buddy. Thank you.
Oh man, man, this is good stuff, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Dylan, man, I tell you, you're a fascinating host, man. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, I hope I didn't talk too fast and didn't